Good evening once again, ladies. We thank God for another beautiful evening. And I want to thank Agnes for this opportunity. And I want to thank all of us for our time and also still for giving me this opportunity. We continue our topic for the week, and that's nurturing your dream business. And as we started on Tuesday, we looked at what business is and how to choose a dream business. We will not be able to go over it because of our time. A few questions came up and a few points. I had to hold a few points because most of it will feature as I tell my story tomorrow, God willing. So today, just as promised, I want us to go through some of the challenges that we face even as we run our own business and the possible solutions. I'm trusting God that this evening's discussion will be more interactive. If you have any question, I just feel free and bring it up. I know we have a few people on the page who are also running their own business, and their experience can even be a solution to us. So we will start the evening's topic of some of the challenges and the possible solutions. Okay, so the first challenge I would like us to consider this evening is cash flow management. Most of the time, let me take somebody who works with maybe the sale of rice in larger quantities in bags, rice, sugar, flour, and those things. You know, such businesses require customers, reliable customers, let me put it that way. And these reliable customers will end up buying in bulk. And most of the time, when they buy like that, you realize that the cash flow, the money that is supposed to come in, doesn't really flow that much because most of the time, because they are your reliable customers, you tend to give the thing to them on credit. Okay, so if you have people you have to pay at the end of the month, like that's your workers. Sometimes it's difficult getting money to pay them at the end of the month, pay yourself. There might be other bills like the prepaid lights, other little expenses that you have to make. But because you have given most of these things on credits, and these people pay sometimes like 4 weeks, sometimes like a month and some weeks, and they haven't paid, but you will need money to run the business too. Okay, this becomes very difficult for business owners because sometimes the reality is you see someone running the business, okay, they buy all right, but you are not really getting the cash to flow in adequately. Okay, I know a few people at the end of the month, sometimes they will have to look around for money to settle their workers. It's not that they are not working, they are working. People are patronizing their goods. But the thing is, the payment, the way the cash flow in is difficult. Some even go to the extent of getting loans. Okay, if you are still managing your own business and you have a very good relationship with your bank, sometimes they're able to grant you some loan to settle it, but it doesn't help. Now, how do we solve this? Okay, you are in this business to make profit. And then definitely these hotels and other people who come to, still with our case study, somebody who sells rice and other things, or better still clothing, when people come and buy, okay, they're also going to use it for work. What I will advise is that try as much as possible to get some payments done, maybe before goods are given out. Okay, and sometimes it's best you start early. It might offend some of the customers, but trust you me, if you get a customer and you're able to explain things to him, not telling the customer I mean the problem per se, but then maybe you make it like a policy. Okay, that okay, before you buy, let's take I give you 5,000 cedis worth of goods, you have to pay at least 2,000 or 2005. So you should have a consistent percentage. Okay, because you need to get the business running. Sometimes you just have to be that firm. Okay, because the business runs on cash. And once you're not having the cash to run the business, whatever business you are doing, once you don't have the cash to run it, it will be difficult to get the business going up. Okay, so the best thing is you can have a rate, a percentage that okay, before this good, this goods come out, you should pay this amount of money. Okay, this percentage. Even if you are into food, it will surprise you. Sometimes people come in and they're like, oh, I want to place an order for this. If I use myself, for instance, like the cake, there are people, it will surprise you. People can come order the cake, especially family and friends. That is why there is this saying that family business grows when family and friends pay for their services. They are one people, like when they buy the stuff, okay, they can come and order the thing. Familiarity, they are familiar with you, so they buy the stuff and they are like, oh, okay, I'll pay you after you have delivered. Sometimes you deliver like a week, 2 weeks. They have finished eating the cake and they are not bringing the money. But you need to buy ingredients. You need to buy other things to get the business running. Okay. So the best thing is the rate, the percentage you put down must apply to all. Okay. You can only take it a bit easy when there are some cases that you can't really do much. You just have to give the items, and such people should be trustworthy people that if they say, okay, give me the goods today, God willing, tomorrow you are getting the money, you get it. Okay, so whenever you daily, when you sell something, even if it's on credit or whatever it is, there should be some deposits before the goods are given out, and that will help you a bit from each angle. Will help you manage the business well. At least the cost of the product should be covered, a bit of the profit should be covered, so that at the end of the month you'll not be found wanting when you have to go in for more goods or you have to pay your workers. Other challenge I would like us to consider, is time management. It is a big problem for us women. You are a wife, a mother, and at the same time a boss. Some even have other responsibilities in church. You see, we have to just be smart about how we spend our time. Okay, because if we are able to plan very well, we'll be able to achieve a lot. Now, how are we able to do this? What I do sometimes is this: I sit down, okay, just as we have New Year resolutions, as we are about entering the new year, you sit down, just as you have, you make your resolutions about your Christian life and other things, you make it for your work as well, for your home, that's your husband, your marriage, and for your kids. Okay, so when you have it for the year, now you break it down into months. Okay, January, I want to achieve this with my work. I want to achieve this in my marriage. If there is a hitch somewhere, I have to, because sometimes combining the work and then home is not easy. But then if you're able to sit down and set goals for us monthly, okay, so from the month of January, I want to achieve this. Now let me break it down. It's hard work, but if we have to get this thing going, my sisters, we have to sit down and plan this thing well. Okay, now we break it down into weeks, and from weeks to days. That is what most of us do, day-to-day activities or to-do lists. Okay, you realize that when you break it into days, it will be a bit minimum, because don't pack the day, because now it is something you are doing even before you enter the year, so you can't really tell what happens then the maybe on the 24th of January for the following year. Okay, so you just make the point, then each day, okay, when we start the year, each day you plan what you have to do the next day. If you are able to plan, okay, as you plan, you realize that there are some of the responsibilities it's not really necessary, okay, for the day, so you just eliminate it. Some you have to delegate. Okay, let me take my case. For instance, I have to go to ECG to get prepaid what, I have to do this thing, I have to do the other thing, but I can easily send a worker to go to ECG to buy the prepaid, because the person is coming with a receipt, so there is no problem for you to doubt whether the person will buy this amount or not. So sometimes delegate some of the responsibilities. Okay, if you are able to delegate, it helps so that you can attend to the other important things that you simply can't leave anybody to do. And every time too, okay, when we are doing something, somebody just sit down and ask yourself, Are you making an absolute best use of the time? Okay, sometimes you just have to let some of the things go. They are not really necessary. Okay, we have sometimes you have maybe after a stressful day you want to relax and watch a TV or a program or something. Okay, but then you realize that you can let go of that program and maybe spend a little time with the kids, because you've been out of the house the whole day. You just came in the evening with them. Okay, so something, or maybe you are tired. Looking at the time you have to watch this program, you are tired. You can either use that time to plan for the next day, or maybe sit down and create something that will help the business grow. Now, out of this problem of time management, I want us to look at this other challenge of delegating tasks. Sometimes there are some of the things you have to delegate or outsource it to the next person. But the problem is, anytime you try to delegate someone to do it, sometimes they end up messing the whole thing up. Let's take my place for instance. Okay, I'm into cakes. There are, maybe in a day we have so much to do. I can't do everything. Okay, let me just rely on at least two of my workers to do this thing. Sometimes you realize that by the time you are back to the office, and the delivery has already been done, you realize that they've messed the whole thing up. That sometimes you just have to call the client and apologize, because that maybe the person have been seeing your works or your services and they are trusting that you deliver. Okay, but then because you've delegated someone, because of the amount of work to be done in the day, you realize that the whole thing have been messed up. Or sometimes too, if you are lucky, it will not be delivered by the time you get there. You go and meet it before delivery, and you have to be under pressure to make corrections. Now, what is the best solution? But get the right people to work for you. You are paying your workers. Okay, first have this thing in mind. You are paying your workers, so when you are looking for workers, my dear, go for the best, not people that you will employ, and at the end of the day they end up not being able to do anything. You tell them to do this thing, the next time they are messing up the whole thing for you. Okay, let me take for instance my place. I had an issue about a month or two back. I was opening open, that's it, the cafe. I needed people to do salad, somebody to do smoothies, and other people to do other things. Okay, the problem is, I had one person who was already doing the cake, and I can rely on her even when I'm not able to make it on time to work or be there to deliver something. This lady will do it well. But then the salad, for instance, it wasn't that I wasn't able to do it, but you see, sometimes, okay, the mistake I made was, instead of allowing myself to get the right people or recruit the right people, test them to see if they are doing the best, I used is it pity? Not really pity, but I was just trying to help a friend out. So a friend suggested that, okay, she knows the sibling needs a job and other things, so I had to bring the person on board. Before I realized, everything was turned upside down for me at work. Okay, so the best thing is, just get the right people to do the job for you. If you know, sometimes it's not easy. Okay, employing someone and at the end of the day telling the person to go. The dream you have, the picture is bigger than just favoring somebody. Okay, sometimes when you favor them, they are able to learn, and then they are able to at least hold the fort when you are not there. But there are some you just have to let go. So with this tax thing, make sure, because the thing is, you can't do everything on your own. Okay, sometimes we end up building the business around us, and it wouldn't help the business to grow. Make sure you have the right people to work for you, so that when you delegate the tax, my dear, you can sit back, relax, and you know that even if you are not there, these people will even perform better than when you are there. Okay, and one other thing is, sometimes these people are good, but sometimes the salary you give them or the motivation is not helping. just make sure these things are properly done. And trust me, when you are not there, the work will be done. And that is one thing that helps a business to grow, because you are a mother, you are a wife, you are a daughter-in-law. You have to travel sometimes, and your workers should be able to cover up. People shouldn't feel your absence when you are not there. So in delegating tasks, just having that one in mind, make sure you get the right service people to do the work for you. Now, to add up to the issue with delegating tasks, sometimes too the people will be good, but you might not be clear to them as to how you want things to be done. Okay, sit them down, or make sure you break the thing down. Tell them exactly what you want them to do. In my case, sometimes we have some orders, the timeline is so short. Okay, so what I do is, before we go home, maybe the delivery for that service is supposed to be by 9 a.m. We open at 9:30. Okay, so because we have to do this delivery, guys, let's come early. By 6:30 we are in here working. What I do is this: before we go home, I sit down, there is a board there, I write your name. Maybe let's say the first worker is AC. I underline your name. I list specifically what I need you to do the next day, because we are supposed to meet a deadline. So AC, God willing, tomorrow. Then I write, clean table B at the side of the room. Put the chair here. I list it. If there are 5 things I expect you to do, I list it. I go to the next person, maybe Ajua. I list specifically what you are supposed to do. So if there are 5 people who are working on that project, I write your name, and then I put everything under it for you. So you see, as soon as you tell them this, as they go home, they know they are burdened with something. So you see, sometimes it's funny. Even if I'm late the next morning, okay, if something comes up and I'm late, by the time I get there, everybody will just be doing what they. So you see, when they do it, okay, they will leave it there. So when I come, what I do is I just advise, okay, I told you to put clean this table at corner A. Okay, it is done. Check. Okay, so you realize that because you have specifically stated what everybody must do. It's funny when I'm writing like that. You see that they all start laughing, but you see, it will surprise you the next day. Even in my absence, when I come, everything will be ready. By the time the client is there, everything is set. So it is one of the things that really helps. Okay, sometimes just do it like you're playing, but be serious about it. I want you to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your name is on top. Your list is there, and it will help. The next thing to consider is choosing what to sell. There is this thing I always tell a friend. Once you have started a business, okay, let's take you've come out of the home, you've rented a place, you pay rent, you pay bills, and you have the space. I always say don't limit yourself to one thing, okay? You have to get other things going, other services or other items to sell, okay? Because you have to earn more capital or more funds. What you do is sometimes you realize that you are short of ideas. Okay, sometimes you really want to do something that's simply short of ideas. What I advise is surround yourself with the right people. Okay, just make sure you have the right people who can even make suggestions. Oh, hey, mommy, this thing that you are doing, I think with this area, if you should add this thing to it, it will help. Sometimes when you say, don't jump into it, but sometimes when you sit down to really consider what the person is saying, you realize that it will help. Other times to ask your workers, what do you think can be done? A friend of mine started a new business about 3 weeks back. So on the opening, I just went there to encourage her. So when I got there, I just sat down, and then people were buying. They would just come in, buy this and leave, and other things. So later I told her, this thing that you are doing, and with this area, why don't you add this like 1, 2, 3, and 4 to it? I spoke to the friend, and she was like, I think this will help. Okay, then let me sell a few things and try and go into that. God being so good, after 2 weeks, she introduced those things, and it's still moving. Those things are moving. So even when the main items, or when the main business she had in mind or is running, is not even functioning, these other little things, trustworthy people around you, good workers are around you to suggest to you to do, it helps the business moving. So sometimes when you are short of ideas, you realize that no, there is something more you want to do. Ask people around you. Don't force yourself. You realize sometimes you are simply not good with those things. Just ask people around, what do you think? Ask your workers, what do you think? And it will surprise you, some of the ideas they will bring on board for you. And once you pick them, it will help the business to grow. The next challenge we face is having a reliable marketing strategy. Some of these big firms and other companies, they're able to hire marketing personnel who go out there to get customers for them. I mean, sometimes it is not easy just to employ someone to come and do that for you if you are running your own business. So how do we do this? Because if you're not able to market yourself well too, you realize that the business is stagnant, it is not moving on, people are not purchasing the items, people are not coming for your services and everything. So how do we solve this? How are we able to market ourselves very well? God being so good, in our times we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. I mean, we have so many platforms, or let me say social media, okay, to market yourself. But sometimes as a mother, you realize that it's a bit difficult. Maybe you have so much on your hands to do, so sometimes it's difficult sitting by your phone just to WhatsApp people and all that, okay. This is what I advise, okay. Picking from time management, okay. The day-to-day activities, the day-to-day things that you have to do. Now it's a small company, okay, and we have to market ourselves. So the day-to-day activities, try and have a slot for marketing, okay. What you do during that time is this: you sit down and your status on WhatsApp, you post some of the things you will do, okay. And then you can also create this audience on WhatsApp, okay. At least people in your contact, sometimes some of them only come there to read, they don't mind you, but you don't give up, just keep posting. As you post, it will surprise you. One time somebody will call you and the person will go like, okay, this person recommended you, but this person who recommended you have even never bought from you, but maybe because you consistently posted what you do to this person on your audience list, or on Facebook, on Instagram, or other media, okay, this person is able to recommend you to someone. And be consistent about it, okay. Sometimes you realize that there are some people, they will keep looking at your status, they will keep looking, some will respond, some can make comments that can be demeaning, sometimes it can demoralize you. But my sister, you know what you have ahead of you, okay. These marketing people, even companies high, when they go out to market their products, people can even pass, sorry to say, very nasty comments. People can say things that will even put you off, okay. So these things are normal when it comes to marketing, okay. So you sit down and just use the social media we have, give time for that, and during those times just work on posting your works, some of the things you are doing. Maybe when you have projects you are working on, you can at least put a few things like teasers and other things there, and you get people following with time. And as you do that, you realize that your customer base will keep increasing. Now the next challenge is capital. By God's grace, business is booming, okay. But then there are other budgets that you need extra funds to solve, okay. You can't use what you're already using for the business, you need extra. That is why I said extra funds. Maybe let me use this for example. We have started the business now, people are buying, people are asking for your services. You need to do delivery. Okay, so now you need a delivery car, van, bike, motor, whatever it is. But you realize that judging from what you have, if you say you are taking money from the main money you are using to run the business to get this, it will be difficult. So what do? Some companies end up going, some small businesses end up going for loans. Some rely on family and friends. Some family and friends can be very helpful. They can put a few monies together for you to get that going. But I strongly believe in this. Okay, know that once the family or a friend or a bank has given you the loan, you will have to pay back. So with time, you have to draw from the capital, your main capital again, to go and give to them. What I will suggest, or what I believe in, is the self-willed capital. Okay, if I have this, I want to get this thing done so that the business will move on. Okay, we need an equipment to make things easier for us. We need a machine to make things easier for us. What do? Let's try and work hard to purchase it ourselves, sorry. So what is best for a small business to do at this time is to make sure you do everything possible to increase your customer base. Okay, with that one, if you have to do by math, I mean getting more people to come and buy, going back to the topic of getting people, that's the challenge of what to sell, having the right people around you, suggest more business ideas to you, bringing it, the ones especially that doesn't require much money. You already have the thing, so you just have to add it. Let me use somebody. Maybe you are into food. Okay, you are into lunch, but then you realize that the lunch is moving. You need more money to get more things done. Okay, let's take, you need microwave, at least 2 3. You need to get a new burner, you need to get more utensils. Okay, now what do I go for a loan? No. Okay, what you can do is try adding more things. You can now start adding breakfast. Okay, initially you were only thinking of lunch. Okay, now the lunch you still go for vegetables and other things to cook it. Just stretch yourself a little. Okay, now let me add breakfast to it. You are still doing the same thing. Okay, once you've added the breakfast, you realize that that is also earning you extra money there. Okay, let me not only end at breakfast, let me bring in something like desserts. Okay, it will also be earning you more money. Okay, let me not only end it, let me add salads. Okay, this is like still using somebody who cooks. So you realize that at one time, okay, you were able to do so many things. So you were able to get profits a bit on everything in a day. So if maybe you do only lunch, okay, and then a day you make sales of like 300 Ghana cedis from the lunch. Now because you have breakfast, you have snack, you have salads, now you're able to make an extra 200 Ghana cedis. Okay, and just as you've made it, you still intensify your marketing strategy. Give yourself time. If you have to delay, maybe you need a thing for like a month. Okay, just within a month you have to get it. Just try and delay yourself. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Try make do with what you have. Give yourself like 2 months, 3 months. You'll be able to raise that, and you buy it yourself. Okay, rather than going into a loan to get the money, and after that you have to pay so much as interest to them, and that will make you lose a lot of capital when you do that, or mostly part of your profit to the bank. Someone once said that the life of an entrepreneur is not enviable at all. You see, sometimes you are running the business, you see people, and it's like they are like, hey, I mean, I admire you and all that. But sometimes, especially the initial stages, sometimes you realize that things are not really moving on for you. People are not really responding to all the marketing strategies you've put out there. People are not really giving comments. Sometimes even people will give comments, but some of the comments can be so disheartening. Okay, when it happens like that, you tend to doubt yourself. When you get to that point, sisters, if you're not careful, you give up. Okay, what you need to do is you need a good support system. Sometimes you can find that support system in your husband. Other times your parents, your siblings, some true friends, okay? And sometimes even your kids. Okay, you just have to make sure you have those people around you. I remember in my when I started my cake journey, a friend recommended um my work to someone, and the lady came in to buy the cake. That day, the cakes that went out in the day, they were like three people. Okay, three orders went out that day, including that lady's cake. Later in the evening, the lady called, and the things the lady said there and then, I just decided to stop this cake business. The lady was like, I've spoiled her birthday party. The cake was bad. No, it was spoiled. The kids, my God, it was so disheartening. Okay, it's like everything I was doing that very moment, like I just had to stop it. I mean, you can't just hear a thing like this about something you've sold to someone and say like you ignore and move on. Okay, I was so down. Okay, so quickly my husband saw like the mood swing or the change in my mood, and he wanted to find out why. I was even embarrassed to tell him. Okay, but the funny thing is, this same cake, it was the same cake batter I baked for everyone. Another person called, and this lady was praising the cake so much. Okay, but this other lady, okay, was just blasting me. It wasn't easy. Okay, so now I began to doubt myself. I was like, okay, this other lady praising my work is a friend, so she could be lying. This person is not a friend, so she could be telling me the truth. Okay, so I was like, I'll stop this thing. I can't take it. I have to stop because I think I'm not good enough to do it. So when I was able to open up to my husband, okay, he was like, I should ignore the way he spoke to me. In fact, it's made me feel so good. Okay, and then sometimes too, you find someone who's also in business, either the same thing you are doing or maybe in another thing. Okay, I had a friend like that, the lady that motivated me to do the cakes. So I called her that evening after speaking to my husband. I called her and I was like, oh dear, this is what's happened. She just laughed and she was like, it is one of those things, just apologize to her and move on. Don't give up because of this. Okay, because I had every reason to give up. I had every reason to say, let me stop this whole thing and look for something else. Let me just stop this whole business thing and just sit down. Okay, but because I had the right people around me, I was able to move on. And the other thing is, the other day I was talking about business plan, okay, and your goals. When you realize that the going is tough, now you are not able to move on. Okay, just go back to your business plan, revise it, go through it, just study it. Okay, it's like start the whole thing again. Okay, but always know that you can do it. Okay, that is why on the face I was talking about passion. Just know that you can do it. If the doubt is there and you feel that, okay, for you to overcome it, friends are encouraging you, your support system is there, but you still feel that there is a shortage somewhere, my dear, if you need to upgrade your skills, okay, if you need to upgrade yourself, you have to pay for somebody who is already doing what you are doing and is better than you or has spent years in it. Pay that person, okay, and learn it. Polish your skills, okay. Make sure you see, the interesting thing is, if you are um into doing things, okay, let me still use the cakes. Okay, if you look at your first cake you made, okay, when you started work, either your first cake, the design or the taste, and you don't laugh, okay, years to come, you don't look at it and laugh and say that, did I really do this? And you don't laugh, then it means, I mean, you are not being realistic. It's not real. Okay, sometimes when this self-doubt comes, okay, during those seasons, if you take short of what you were doing or you write some things down, you realize that when you're able to sail through it, you realize that years after you will sit down and laugh about those things. So for self-doubt, it is there, but my dear, get a good support system, get things down, have a business plan down, have tax down, just push yourself, just know that you can do it. And then one thing, always make sure the scripture, one thing I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Unless I don't have the desire, unless God doesn't want me to do the thing, but once I have the desire and I know I'm not doing anything contrary to his word, I know I'll get there. Okay, so let's just encourage ourselves and push through it. We can do it. Amen. With the issue of percentage, okay, maybe it's an item or a service. What you can do is this: you can calculate the cost involved. Okay, let's take if the cost is about 40%, that is the main cost is about 40%, and then you have maybe other little things added to it plus your profit. So if it's about 40%, what you can do is you can peg the thing at the percentage at a minimum of 50%. That is the least. You can do 50%, you can do 60 or 70, depending on what you are giving to the person, and then the time line you expect the person to use to finish the payment of the good. Sometimes you realize that some people takes a very long some people take sorry a longer time to pay. If you know that if I give this thing to this person will pay in like 6 months, it won't help. So with that one, you can make it like 60% so that you will not be so much affected. At least at the end of the month, you know that the cost is covered, and then at least a profits, a margin of the profits too has been covered. When she says it, okay, just tell her you, that is in my opinion, okay, just tell her like you also have a similar idea, but don't give her details of what you want to do. Okay, just tell her that, oh, you also have a similar idea, so that in future when you implement it, as human as we are, she might think you've stolen her idea. Okay, so you just tell her, wow, like you also have like a similar idea, but you are still thinking of how to like go about the whole thing.